traders, I hope you are well. And in this video, I want to discuss how I validate supply and demand zones within the supply and demand chain. Now, when looking at zones, they're not all the same. We all know that I have a specific picture, right? It's like my ideal picture, the engulfing candle, right? Bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing. For me, that is my sort of like my world. That's where I define my picture, what I look for when it comes to zones that I see the potential to execute on. But sometimes zones just don't look like that, right? Sometimes they're ugly as fuck. But it's screen time and your awareness over time that allows you to shift your perspective slightly, look at the zones differently, and execute at the same time. So let's just take a look at this level here, right? How would I validate this zone, right? So number one, this is way outside the 30-day time frame in terms of an institution or a bank who wants to get their orders filled, right? They want to get their orders filled as quickly as humanly possible, right? So let's just take a look at the timeline of this. We've got that drop happens, comes out here. So let's move that there. Let's come all the way over here till it came in. It's 121 days, guys. This is not a fucking supply zone, right? It just isn't. Right, I mean, looking at this, number one, this has come out of a massive drop, right? And we've got a drop base, drop base, drop base, drop base, drop base, drop base, drop base. Got some sideways actions here and then another drop, right? The banks and institutions are not going to wait 121 days to come back and get their orders filled. Just not going to happen. But let's look at a situation where they will, right? Right here, we've got see, like this, an example, an engulfing candle here. It's ugly, this level, but it still works, right? So the market pushes out, takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days to come back in. Boom, they get more orders filled. Comes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more orders filled. Boom, then the market moves, right? Then the same thing happens again here, but it takes less time. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Out 3 days, back in, and then boom. Okay, this is the banks and institutions getting their orders filled. This over here, that's just part of a rally. Now, what we're doing as traders is we're simply observing the market, right? So we put this zone in, not necessarily because we've we have it in our head that this zone is going to work. All we're doing is identifying potential opportunities that we frame in our heads as supply and demand, especially when the time frame is this far out. Okay, I hope this is making sense, right, guys? So we say to ourselves, all right, this isn't a supply and demand zone, right? Because it's so far out the time scale. But nonetheless, we're still going to wrap some lines around it and say to ourselves, let's put an alert on, which is an event one, to let us know that once the market reaches there, let's see what happens. Okay, so let's just see what happens. Let's see if the zone validates itself. It's not for you to validate its zone. The zone will validate itself with or without you. Okay, so let's just dive in deeper. So now what do? We go down to the H1 time frame, and let's just scroll back a bit here. Now again, see, I've some previous videos, you'll notice that there's a pretty fucking picture, right? It's so sexy and it's so real, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just so easy. But some of these are just ugly as fuck, and it's just like, sometimes you just don't even know what's going on, and that's okay. Do you know what you do in those situations? You don't take the fucking trade. Okay, You sit back, you do nothing, you find another market. Simple as that, right? But this, I just want to give you like a really ugly picture so you can understand. Now, if I really wanted to take this, and I actually was, right? I actually was, but I totally missed it because the market just dropped drastically. So you can probably see where my picture is, right? In terms of, so we've had event one, right? This is event one up here, the market actually entering the daily time, the daily zone, right? And remember, this is not an actual supply zone. I have framed this in my head as a supply zone just to see the reaction and if there's potential to execute on it, right? Because it's way outside our time frame, okay? So we can see just here, it's ugly, guys, but fuck, right? It's so ugly, yeah, but it's there nonetheless. So we've got some, and remember that an event two where we're looking for that resistance, right? And then the break of that kind of like of that demand zone, which then sets off event two, right? So event two is this, we've got resistance here, right? So let's just draw it in just to make it clear. Got some resistance here, got some resistance here, we've got some resistance here, we have resistance here. So it's like, okay, this is a zone that seems to be holding itself up right now. Once it breaks, we've got some action, right? And then as we can see, the market broke straight through us. So ideally, where I'd be looking right now for event three would simply be here. If I wanted to be a bit more conservative, I might even take it up to here, right? Let's just change the color of this so we are, all right, cool. But as we can see, the market did not make its way back up to this level, right? Because it had just a really clean, as we can see here on the left-hand side, it had absolutely nothing to stop it, right? Not a damn thing. So what we could have potentially have done if we are here at the screen time, you know, we could have maybe looked out for this area here, this small little pocket. And as we see, make that red, we could have got it as well, right? And the market dropped to what, 64, 63, maybe around 140 points from there, something like that. Awesome, right? But unless you're around or, you know, you've got plenty of screen time, you maybe would have missed this. This would have been a missed trade because I would be expecting my limit orders would have been up here, right? Since we broke event two, my limit order would have been here at event three, waiting for the market to pull back and then push back down. But we just didn't have it, right? So the zone validated itself in the sense that it broke event two, left room for me for event three, but the market just did not get back to the event three stage for execution, right? And that's the validation. That's all the validation you need. And while this market is dropping, maybe there's other potential opportunities. Again, this is if you have the time to be watching it, right? So you could be setting up alerts. Look, guys, I live by my fucking alerts. All right. So I have an alert for when the market enters the daily zone, which is event one, lets me know that the market's there. Then I go down, I dive in and I look for event two, which is the demand zone here. And then I place an alert just at the bottom of this for the market to let me know when it's broken. And then once that alert pops, I find the zone that broke. I find the zone for event three that broke event two, and then I place my limit order. Everything is based on alerts, right? So, as we can see here, the market continued to drop. Are there other opportunities? Seems so, right? And the market is moving like the way it is. We've got another opportunity over here. Let's just put that in red for you. And we have another opportunity over here. Also, right? But this is how we simply validate our zones. We stick to the supply and demand chain. It's as simple as that, right? But it's not always going to be picture perfect. And sometimes it's not always going to come back to our event 3 that is our trigger event, right? So you just have to be mindful, be aware that the picture is not always going to be perfect. The zones sometimes are going to be ugly as hell, and you just simply have to work with that. But don't be over eager, okay? Because there's plenty of markets you need to choose from, right? Plenty of zones that are occurring on multiple time frames, on multiple charts, on multiple products. So just be patient, okay? And leave your emotions elsewhere. Do not bring them with you into the market. Stay focused, okay? Make sure you demo trade as well as live trading at the same time, making sure that you're getting your targets in your event chain right when it comes to your supply and demand event chain. Make sure you got your event 1, your event 2, and then your trigger on event 3, right? And we're all doing this from a daily perspective, guys. I am working on a kind of shorter term time frame perspective as well, which allows us to pull money from the market within these larger daily moves. But I really want to get your head around this on a much larger scale first, because it's easier, number 1. The levels are clearer, number 2. And it allows you to be more patient, because you have to wait, right? You have to wait for event 1 to happen. You have to wait for event 2 to happen. And you have to wait for event 3 to happen. Otherwise, nothing happens. Okay? So this is how we validate zones, by really not actually validating them. They validate themselves. Our opinion on the zones means shit. All right? So I want to leave it here with this video, guys. Please leave a little something in the comments. Let me know if this has made sense to you. I'm going to be coming out with a few more videos. I hope you are all well. I hope your trading is going fantastic. I hope you're all having an awesome year so far, and I love you all.